Money decides where you live, what you eat, how safe you feel, and how free you really are. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never stop to think about. The money you use every single day is not as real, not as neutral, and not as fair as you were taught. There are invisible rules quietly controlling every currency you touch, every salary you earn, and every price you pay. These rules were never voted on by the public, yet they shape the entire global economy. Once you see them, you can never unsee them. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing the money in your bank account doesn't actually belong to you in the way you thought it did. That it exists mostly as numbers on a screen, governed by systems you don't control, rules you never agreed to, and institutions you barely understand. This isn't science fiction. This is the real financial system we live in today, and almost nobody explains it clearly. That's exactly why you're watching Finance Hero, where we break down money, power, and hidden financial mechanics in a way anyone can understand. Before we go deeper, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Finance Hero. If you care about understanding money beyond the surface, if you want clarity instead of confusion, this channel is built for you. Liking and subscribing helps this message reach more people who deserve to know how the system truly works. Now let's begin with something simple but shocking. Most people believe money comes from governments. Some think it comes from gold. Others believe it's backed by productivity or national strength. But modern money is backed by something very different. It is backed by trust, debt, and rules written by central banking systems. Every currency you use is born through debt, not value. New money is created when someone borrows it into existence. This single rule quietly controls everything else. When a government needs money, it doesn't simply print it freely. It borrows it. When banks want to expand the economy, they don't lend existing money. They create new money by issuing loans. This means that nearly every dollar, euro, or pound exists because someone, somewhere, owes it back with interest. That interest, however, is never created at the same time, so the system always needs more debt to survive. This is not an accident. It is a design. Another invisible rule is that you never truly hold money, you hold a claim. Cash is becoming rare, and most currency today exists digitally. Bank deposits are technically liabilities of the bank, not assets you directly own. This means your money is only as safe as the system behind it. If confidence breaks, so does the value. This is why trust is guarded more aggressively than truth in financial systems. Then there's inflation, one of the most misunderstood forces in modern life. Inflation is not just prices going up. It is a silent transfer of wealth. When new money is created, it doesn't reach everyone equally. It enters through governments, banks, and financial markets first. By the time it reaches everyday people, prices have already adjusted. Savings lose purchasing power, while assets owned by the wealthy rise in value. This is why working harder often feels like falling further behind. Another rule no one talks about is that currencies are designed to lose value over time. This encourages spending, borrowing, and constant economic activity. Saving, on the other hand, is quietly punished unless you invest in assets. This pushes people into markets they don't fully understand just to preserve their wealth. Fear becomes a feature, not a flaw. Global currencies are also tied together in ways most people never see. When one major central bank changes interest rates, it affects currencies worldwide. Capital moves instantly across borders, chasing yield and safety. Smaller economies feel the shock the hardest. Their currencies weaken, debt becomes more expensive, and everyday people pay the price through higher costs of living. Yet the decision was made far away, by people they never elected. One of the most powerful invisible rules is that crises are not always failures of the system. Often, they are part of how it resets itself. Financial crashes wipe out weak players, consolidate power, and justify new rules. Emergency measures become permanent policies. Surveillance increases, control tightens, and the public is told it's all necessary for stability. Another truth rarely explained is that central banks are not truly government institutions in the way people assume. They operate independently, guided by mandates that prioritize system stability over individual well-being. Their tools are blunt, affecting millions at once. Interest rate changes don't just slow inflation. They decide who can afford homes, who loses jobs, and which businesses survive. Currencies also compete silently. Some are protected by military power, trade dominance, and political influence. Others are vulnerable, constantly defending their value against collapse. This creates a global hierarchy of money, where some currencies export inflation while others import it. The rules are invisible, but the outcomes are painfully real. Throughout history, money has changed forms, but power has always stayed close to those who control its creation. From goldsmiths to modern central banks, the pattern repeats. Complexity increases, transparency decreases, and dependence grows. Most people are kept busy surviving inside the system, never questioning its foundations. This is why financial education is so important. Not the kind that teaches you how to budget alone, but the kind that explains how the game itself is structured. At Finance Hero, we believe understanding these invisible rules is the first step toward real financial awareness. You don't need to become an economist, you just need clarity. As this video continues, you might feel uncomfortable. That's normal. Realizing the system isn't designed for fairness can be unsettling, but awareness creates options. It changes how you save, invest, and think about money. It helps you separate personal failure from systemic design. Notice how no one openly explains these rules in schools. Notice how financial stress is treated as an individual problem rather than a structural one. That silence protects the system. Conversations like this challenge it. As we reach the end, I want you to think about one thing. Money is not just a tool, it is a language of power. And like any language, those who understand it have an advantage over those who don't. If this video helped you see money differently, write your thoughts in the comments. I read them, and your perspective matters. Share this video with someone who feels confused or frustrated about money, but can't explain why. These conversations grow when people talk. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Finance Hero. This channel exists to uncover what's hidden, explain what's complex, and help you see the financial world with clear eyes. The more you understand the rules, the less control they have over you.